Squirrel Rosenberg Radio coming to you live and direct from the lab on a very crisp, feel like I'm in Montego Bay tonight, I'll tell you right here in the lab. It's a beautiful night, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in. You know what, taking the time out to check us out, not only on SoundCloud, but also on our YouTube channel. We're going to be streaming this live on our Facebook and giving you the full gamut of everything that's happening here on Squirrel Rosenberg Radio. As a matter of fact, we're going to tweak that and let everybody know the SQR Radio is a symbol we want to get ingrained in your brain right now, because we're giving you a full gamut of the whole show here. Tonight is classic, just like how the weather is. Once again, I tell you, this is all bringing back Jamaica weather. I got a beautiful green bottle with me, as you know how we always do here on the show. Of course, we drink responsibly, and we enjoy good energy, good conversation. And for all the listeners, they know how I normally get the show cracking and open. I want to give a big shout out to everybody that's in the house right now behind the camera. I want to give a big shout out to my boy Manny, my boy E-Dub on the mic. I want to give a big shout out to my boy Matthew Shorts in the house, getting ready to hold us down lovely. And I think I got that right, man. Did I hit that right? Forget about it. I'm going to get it right the next time. Holding us down on the social media platform and getting us to the next level. And tonight, I also want to take a big shout out to give a big props to my boy Cheese. Thank you so much for blessing us with your presence in the back right there. I'll tell you, tonight's going to be a classic night, ladies and gentlemen. And once again, thank you for tuning in, because tonight, on this wonderful night, I am honored to have Chanel Casimir.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
Yo, that slight awkward pause was to make sure I didn't massacre that name.
I know.
You know, so how did I do?
You did great. It was great.
Bong. Thank you so much. So, Chanel Casimir, thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you so much for having me.
And I just want to let everybody know, she is hailing from Complexed Simplicity, which is your brand.
My brand, my website, my movement.
And let everybody know what's that about.
So pretty much, Complex Simplicity is about me empowering us all to know who we are, to love who we are, to own our mess, as well as sharing my passions for fashion.
Okay.
It's my little t-shirts.
Big.
My passion for music. I'm a huge music head, hip hop, R&B,
nice.
90s, and I know that's what y'all do here.
all day.
I'm with it. I'm so with it. But yeah, like just a place where we can kind of have some thought-provoking, controversial information, conversations, but still bug out, party, have a good time.
Sounds like Squirrel Rosenberg Radio times 2.
Really?
Yes, really. That's what we do here. Just really expound on everything you just said. However, as you were listing all the attributes of Complex Simplicity, which is your brand, I am saying to myself, okay, what did she go through? Or what did you experience to be able to develop such a strong backbone to be blazing this trail? And here on Squirrel Rosenberg Radio, everybody know that's what we do. We get granular to find out what it is that made you who you are. So can we just jump into that real quickly?
Absolutely.
Because I sense a lot of confidence. I sense a lot of self-awareness in your conversation. Yes. And I want all my listeners, especially other females out there who may be watching this and going, let me just see how she, developed that spine to get where she is. So let's dig into this. Where are you from originally?
I'm originally born in the Bronx, raised in Mount Vernon, New York.
Big up BX. Big up BX.
Yes.
Big up BX.
And so I grew up with a mom who is like she just tells it like it is. I grew up with a father who always was there for me.
They were all from the U.S. from?
Yes, my dad was born in South Carolina.
Okay, from South.
He came up here when he was about 6 or 7.
Okay.
And my mom was born and raised out here.
Wow. Straight New York girl, huh?
Straight New York girl. So, my parents got together. They created my brother first, then me, right? And we grew up in a household where, our mother would be very honest, even if it was brutally honest with us.
Yeah,
but there was a lot of
right?
love. There was like always a mirror held in front of you. So if we get out of line or we like play ourselves, our parents would be like, did you see this? We need not to have this happen, right? But it was mixed in love, and nurturance and support. So that was like my backbone and my background. But my mom lived a hard life. She had like a very hard and trying childhood, and so that's why she raised us the way that she did raise us. And my dad was the balance with the love and the care and the nurture. My mom was too.
Oh wow.
But, so when you're raised with someone who's gone through a lot of things in life, right, it kind of helps to build your awareness growing up. So
that was very well said. That was so well said. And on Squirrel Rosenberg radio, when you say something profound, we call it dropping a jewel.
All right now.
Yeah. And you literally just dropped a jewel, because you said when you live with somebody who's experienced a lot, you tend to know how to, you get those strengths from that. And the reason why I stopped you or interjected there is because in that instance, a lot of people could have reacted negatively. And when you said your mom went through some stuff, it dawned on me that your mom made a conscious decision not to duplicate what she experienced,
absolutely,
but to improve on that. So that in itself is, I salute that immensely. Yes. So it was mom, dad, brother, sister. That was it.
Just us four.
Oh, wow. And as you grew up, you were the nurturing. And I love the fact that you said dad was there for that balance. Father's Day is coming up. Expound on that a little bit.
Oh, my dad is everything to me, right? He was the man who taught me how I should be treated without even having to verbally say it. He just taught me with his actions. I saw how he treated my mom. He was always responsible. If he had to work 3-4 jobs for us, he would, because my mom stayed at home. She was a stay-at-home mother.
Big.
So the respect and love that I have for my father is like no other, And so Father's Day, I always try to do my best to come through for him.
Yeah, let's hit these green bottles real quick.
Okay.
Let's toast this Heineken. Reference to dad. What's your dad's name?
Al.
Yeah, let's look into the main camera right there and big up Al. Good job, Al.
Happy Father's Day, Dad. I love you.
I have to salute that, because we had a couple of guests on the show, and you were probably the third or fourth guest that have mentioned the loving, caring aspect that fathers normally bring to the table. Well, not normally, out of the norm brought to the table. Okay. Because the typical statement with fathers are sperm donors, or even if they're not sperm donors, they're not involved.
Yeah.
And I love to hear that. So
yeah.
I am seeing where the simplicity of your, childhood,
yes,
kind of gave you, and I want to see where the complex.
It's
curious, because that's a very unique name, and the oxymoron statement. Where did you come up with that?
So it's funny. I was in college, and I grew up singing. My mom sings, so I grew up in a musical family. So in college, I sang with different groups and with choir and stuff. So I said, if I ever had an album out, dreaming big when you're younger, I would name it Complex Simplicity. And they were like, well, why? I said, because I feel like the human body is so complex with how our brain works, with how our body works. But it really is the simple things in life that make us happy, that keep us fulfilled. Ooh. And so I don't know why I always liked that oxymoron.
Chanel, you're trying to sneak a jewel by me. You're just trying to sneak a jewel by me. You're not by this Jamaican. That was a profound statement right there. No, seriously, because when you broke it down, and I'll let you say it again, you go back and just mention what you said and let our listeners know the complexity, simplicity of the body.
So yes, I came up with the complex part because I feel like the human brain, it's amazing.
It is complex.
It's so what the body can do is just wow. I do believe in God, and so I feel like God really did his thing when he created human beings, right?
He did.
But then I feel like, to me, life is much more enjoyable when it's more simple. It's the simple things to me that matter in life. And so I always kind of liked how those words played or complemented each other.
No, that was very profound. And as we get ready to wrap on this segment with Chanel Casimir, did I get that right?
You did.
Bong. We're gonna come back, jump into the next stage of where she marinated to, and find out how the complexity came in and how you're able to filter that, because so far you've snuck 2 jewels on the show, and I like that. And with what you have coming up and what we're going to touch on with your show and what you're doing, I think it's going to be a profound interview here. So for everybody out there, Squirrel Rosenberg Radio, Chanel Casimir, kicking back. Everything you're hearing right now on the music is available on our SoundCloud. YouTube is going to be booming. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. 1. Squirrel Rosenberg Radio as we rock back in with Chanel Casimir. Yo, I just hit that out the park.
It was perfect.
You have no idea how good that feels. Yeah, as we get ready to rock into the second segment of the powwow. And once again, I want to thank you so much for the energy that you're bringing to the powwow tonight.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for having me. I'm just excited to be here.
You know what's so funny? The check's in the mail. Appreciate that. No, but we were powwowing, and I love and really enjoyed how you explained thoroughly the simplicity and the complexity of how the name that you chose came up and the things that you used to as an analogy into that. That was very good. And I'm also now curious as we moved on, because what I got from, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but what I got from the family makeup and the experiences briefly there, mom was a major factor in making things happen, keeping the discipline, dropping the law. Dad was more diplomatic. He was like the Secretary of State that would come and soften things up, deliver things probably with the same meaning, but because my dad was the same, and I tried to do that with my girls. However, as we move forward into the high school, college, and you start gaining your own independence, did you ever waver with insecurities or anything along those lines for you to be as confident as you are now?
Absolutely. I think that we all have levels of insecurity. I just think that there are realms that are healthy and normal, and then there are realms that could be real unhealthy and detrimental to your well-being. So growing up, I was always a very tall young lady. My dad is 6'5". I'm 5'11". My brother's 6'3".
Oh, wow.
And so growing up in my era, it really wasn't welcomed like that if you're tall, so I'd be called names like Doofy or, I loved to dance and was always extra exuberant when I was dancing with different groups. And, sometimes the guys that I might have liked would have, chuckled in the corner. So growing up in high school, I had my own little insecurities. But I think as I grew older and was in college, I started to say like, no, I'm cute, I'm good. If he doesn't like me, then that's his problem. As much as I may like him, it is what it is. I didn't let it get me down to the point where I started to like beat myself up or feel like I was just like.
But you do understand that a lot of girls go through that.
Yes.
And I'm curious and maybe we answered this question that I'm about to ask you when we spoke about your family, because if your family was so solid, it gives you that extra spine.
Yes.
You follow? Because my question was going to ask, where did you get that from to be so resilient when it came to, because it affected you. Let's not be coy about it.
Yeah.
But you also rebounded quickly or quicker than anybody else, because that girl would have been like, you know what? He chuckled. I don't feel, let me just dumb down myself or let me not do this. So I salute you for that.
Thank you.
And you never dealt with any doubts or?
I mean, I had eras of being a little thickums too, so that could have played.
Which is appreciated in some cultures, don't get it twisted.
Very true.
So.
But I think for me, maybe just my dad and my mom even, that kind of helped me. But like I said, I was normal like anyone else. I'm not going to sit here and say I never had insecurities. I was always this major confident girl. I ultimately was confident, but in those moments, you're just like. And, I'd go home and talk to my brother about it, or my mom, maybe my dad, and they'd reassure me. And after a while, it was like, please, you don't like me, that's fine,
No, that's big, because my youngest is also, she's very tall, actually. I think I went traveling, and the mailman kind of stopped by my house when he shouldn't have, because I'm not that tall, and this chick is just way too tall. You know what I mean? So my wife's going to kill me for that comment. But the point was, she dealt with a little bit of those issues, and I was able to reinforce, because at the end of the day, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, don't you feel so confident staying in that lane and blazing that trail versus compromising?
Yes. I was always a young lady who wanted to be her own person. I went through phases where I dressed ridiculously. You can ask my husband. He was like, what is this girl wearing, right? Like, who does that? But I was very like, I have to stay true to who I am. I am my own person. I don't want to look like everybody else. And that's how I was in college on up. I hated when people would like swagger jack me or copy me.
Yeah.
Until this day, it kind of rubs me like, ugh.
But what do you call it? Duplication or a copy is the greatest compliment.
Yeah, but sometimes it's like, can I just be great and live, you know? But
I tell you this much, man. Everything I hear is just this confident movement, you know? So as you transcended through, or transitioned through high school, college, let me ask you, how was the prom thing going? How did that go?
For what, high school?
Yeah.
High school, I went with my high school sweetheart.
Okay.
We were together off and on for 4 years, and it was fun. Like, it was fun. I was with my friends. You know, my parents didn't let me go to the after party, so that was the only part that was like, but everybody else is going, you know. But other than that, I had a great time.
Nice. So you transitioned from that college
Yes.
Bing. So now you've definitely become the woman that you like are gonna be when you leave college. So you've really hit some bumps. You've now got the extra oomph.
Yes.
I am trying to get to the complex part of the simplicity story I heard earlier. When did it become complex, or when did you appreciate the complexity?
Well, I also realized maybe the complex part also comes from the dynamics and relationships with people. I realize it's hard, right? It's not easy. You know, I'm the type of person, I'm loyal to a fault sometimes. I'm there for you, I'm supporting you, but I wouldn't really get that back a lot of the times. And
let's
so
stick up in there. Let me interrupt. And everybody told me not to do this. I'm going to get chastised for this. You said you're loyal to a point. Let's play this game real quick.
Okay.
What horoscope sign do you rule under that would match that?
I'm a Leo.
What does that mean? What are the characteristics of a Leo?
I'm told the characteristics are you could be bossy, you know, you are loyal, you're like a lion, you're strong,
even to a fault.
Even to a fault.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. So back on track to what you were saying. So as you grew and you experience these relationships, that's when you understand the complexity of life, or the complexity within that.
Yes, and just how, you know, as we get older, certain things get harder. You know, in college, the friends I acquired, we lived on campus together. It was easy. Once we all graduated and really started living life, the dynamics of the friendships changed. Things got harder, more complex, you know, more dramatic. And I'm not going to put it all on them. I'm pretty sure I had my part in it, right? Sometimes, you know, but you know, that's when you start to realize life is real. I moved out of my parents' house at 23. I'm living with a girlfriend of mine from college, and it's like, this is real. Like, life is real. I get all the things my parents were trying to teach me all along, right? And you just realize that, you know, if you don't make the right decisions, you can make your life harder. That's a mantra my parents always
she's trying to sneak out a jewel buy on Squirrel Rosenberg radio. Let's drop that in that camera again quickly. Please, Chanel. Say that again. If you
don't make the right decisions, you can make your life harder out here, y'all. Harder.
Yo, that's so profound. And people look at themselves like, why am I here? You know, what did I do to get here? And if you go back to that statement and make a better decision. So we're going to take a break, come back on Squirrel Rosenberg Radio, because here's what I want to hear about. I want to hear about the gentleman, your husband, who was able to come into this picture and add to the flavor of, you know, Chanel Casimir. Squirrel Rosenberg Radio, Squirrel Rosenberg TV. It's an honor to have you here. We'll be back right after these messages. Squirrel Rosenberg Radio as we rock back in with my girl Chanel Casimir. Round of applause for such a great podcast so far. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you locking this thing. And as I ask Manny to just turn down Hurricane Gilbert behind me, so we make sure this doesn't get in the fan, in the mic. I want to just jump into this question that's been really not really bugging me, but it's been in the back of my thoughts. Because as I said, when I met you, the confidence that you transmitted. Mm-hmm. And then I heard the story and how solid the family background was.
Yes.
And I got to admit, I did a little behind the scenes powwow with your husband before I got back. Mm-hmm. And you know what's so funny? He brought something to the light that was very profound. I salute your parents for being that unit to show you what a solid family should look like.
Yes.
And I think that gave you that, and I'm using a lot of metaphors or similes here, but I think that gave you that trampoline that you needed to bounce back from whatever experiences you had.
Yes, I thoroughly agree.
So I want you to be, I want to jump into this section of the powwow, which as we come into the last section on you is your husband. Mm-hmm. So now you're out of college.
Yes.
You've had the bumps and bruises that have made you aware of the complexity that challenges or is the mirror image of the simplicity prior.
Yes.
So now you're well-rounded. You're equipped. How does he sneak into the picture? What was it about this guy that goes, that's going to be my guy, considering how aware you are?
Well, we were coworkers, you know, and
okay.
I'm not someone who mixes business with pleasure, but we started off being coworkers, friends, and then, you know, we worked.
So he was never on the, you know what, he's kind of cute look.
Yes. When he first, I always say this to people, he started working at my job 2 days before Christmas. And it's like, I'm new at the job, so I had to be there. The rest of my unit is like on vacation. And I'm like, who starts work like 2 days before Christmas? But it was just really he and I in the office. And I'm like, he's cute, like 90s cute, like kind of handsome. You don't really see too often.
Right.
But then, you know, the energy between us was just cool. So we were just coworkers. I'd be able to tell him my male drama and this guy got this girl calling me and what does this mean? And he would give me and my other female coworkers advice. That male perspective advice.
Yeah.
You know, he'd be brutally honest with us, blatant with us.
Ooh.
And I don't know, over time, you work enough late nights in the social work field.
Yeah.
It's like, we kind of want the same things. Like, why does it sound like he kind of wants what I want? Or he grew up in a 2-parent household too? Like, what? You know?
It's so funny. We got to salute that. Can we toast to a 2-parent home?
Yes.
As I run. And we even expounded on that because the irony is that should be the norm.
Yes.
A 2-parent home. But back to going on. So you guys grew up and you realized you had the same interests.
But then I'm like, he's not into it because he would give mixed messages. But he says he was like feeling I was still caught up with whoever I was dealing with at the time.
Patient.
So it's like, no, now's not the time. In my mind, I'm like, he's a little older than me. What's he going to want with a 23-year-old girl kind of thing?
Right.
But over time, you know, we actually started to like go out on dates and got together.
Wow.
And that's how it started. He reminded me of my father when they always say,
there you go.
Your picker is the guy, whoever was your father, whether he was a great man and a not so great man. It's like a subconscious thing that happens with us women. And he is a lot like my dad. So I get why I was attracted to him.
Wow.
Makes full sense.
I love and appreciate the bird's eye view perspective you just had on that statement. You know, because a lot of people, and you know, it's so funny. I wouldn't say it was a jewel, or maybe you just dropped like 6 jewels on us real quickly. But for our listeners out there, especially our girls or females, you just said it profoundly. When subconsciously or consciously, you tend to pick the guy who duplicates your dad.
Yep.
And if your dad was an a-hole, you're more than likely going to pick an a-hole.
Yes.
But if your dad was a stand-up guy, you're going to be attracted to a stand-up guy.
Yes.
And here's a living example because you marinated and did those things. So first and foremost, let's just give a toast to what's your husband's name?
Patrice.
Big shout out to Patrice.
Shout out to you, babe.
Yeah. Big shout out to Patrice. And not only and the reason why I never interrupted you while you were talking about that whole mix-up, I want to salute him for listening. You follow? Because he sounded like he was at air a lot of times.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of guys, the typical guy, would have jumped on the opportunity of, you know what? Okay, she's going through bull crap with that. Let me slide in right now. But he didn't do that.
He didn't.
Which even makes it more even profound now that you're here. So the relationship with dad and him, what's that whole dynamics with your family like?
They're good. Like, he's like their second son.
I'm sure they got to be happy about that, right?
They love him. In the beginning, you know, they were very overprotective of me, but once they got to know who he was, they love it.
Big. No, I salute that. And as we get ready to jump into the transition from that life. And by the way, how long have you been married now?
October will be 3 years.
Wow.
But we were dating for like 8 before that. But yeah. Like,
was there a lot of complex simplicity through that whole process?
Oh, yes.
So, okay, cool. So, all right, before we get ready to wrap on this, I want to ask the Bambinos.
The Bambino. Oh, the babies.
Yeah, the babies.
That's like the $1 million question I get all day, every day.
Well, you just got it here on Squirrel Rosenberg Radio. What's going on? Because I'm pretty sure everybody else in your whole group. What's the name of your girls you graduated from college? Because I know Dr. Jen, one of our guests or one of our co-hosts here on the show, all of her friends just graduated from college. They're all having babies at the same time. Like,
yeah.
What was that? Is that something you guys, or go ahead, answer the first question.
We definitely want at least a child. I always say, we'll do this one good time and we'll see how this works. But no, definitely, we want a child. I know my husband already has a teenage son, but we do want one. And I did say 2018, so I have to be a woman of standard. And
nice.
Uphold to that. But yes, definitely next year, we got to start trying.
That's going to be a lot of fun, right?
Yeah.
Which is part of the complex simplicity here, which is your show about. So before we get ready to close, could you remind my listeners where they could find you and get all your information?
Yeah, so you can go to complexsimplicity.com. That's my website. You can go to my Instagram page, complexsimplicity09.
Okay.
And my Facebook page is Complex Simplicity.
In fact, before we even get ready to close on that, there was a piece you had my boy E-Dub pulled up.
Oh, my little clip.
Yeah. Can we check that? Tell us what that clip's about before he plays it.
So within my website, I have various sections. This clip comes from a section called Candid Talk with Chanel.
Okay.
That's where I ask the controversial, thought-provoking questions. I may share what I've seen or assessed or what my experience might have been, and then I pose it to the audience, the group, whoever follows me, you know, as to what their thoughts and perspectives are.
Wow.
So it kind of make us think a little, I feel
I like that. The psych, tidbits to the whole process,
Yes.
you're not only engaging, but you're thinking.
Yes.
So the piece that we're about to watch is just you giving your 2 bits on which topic?
So I'm talking about how I think I saw a quote that said, pretty much saying that we, a lot of times as women, want to look like her. But we don't embrace our own beauty and the things that make us beautiful. And I'm very passionate about this because I feel like we all as women have beauty, inner beauty as well as outer beauty. And instead of always trying to look like her or these little Instagram chicks out here who themselves don't probably really look like how they portray themselves to be.
True.
Let's embrace our own beauty.
True.
So I kind of threw that out there.
So we're going to take a look at that clip, and I want to come back with a disclaimer from men's point of view on that point you just made.
Oh, yeah?
Let's check this out.
I stumbled upon this saying that I loved, and it pretty much, I think, sums up how a lot of us women tend to compare ourselves to each other all the time. And so the thought said, don't try to be her pretty, try to be your own pretty. Ooh. And that so resonated with me. I remember growing up, being a preteen, even elementary school kid, at my pre-adolescence into teenagehood, where there were times where, the pretty girls or the girls who were deemed like the pretty cute girls, I would always say to myself, if only I looked like her, or if I had a flat stomach like her, or if I, wasn't as tall, or, always trying to want to look like someone else. And I'm so glad that somehow, I think between my high school years into college years, I started to settle more into how I looked, how God made me to look. I started coming into my own.
Beautiful.
Slowly but surely. I think I went through that awkward phase for a while, and definitely once I hit my 20s, well in my 20s up until now, I feel like I'm really coming into my beauty. I feel like I'm so much more bomb and prettier in my 30s than I was even when I was younger, right? And sometimes for some of us, it may take a while for us to kind of come into ourselves, our womanhood, our beauty, so to speak. And I just want to encourage everyone out there who's young, who's middle-aged, approaching middle-age, older age, that we all are beautiful and have our own kind of beautiful. Now, don't get me wrong, because I did a Candid talk about this before, where I do acknowledge, at least I believe, that there are certain levels of beauty that are wow, but at the end of the day, I still feel like we should be able to embrace our own beauty, work with what we have, and enjoy it, instead of wanting to look like someone else or these celebrities out here let's enjoy the beauty that we already have, our inward beauty as well as our outward beauty. You know, even the celebrities, they don't always look how you think they do. It's a lot of nipping and tucking and a lot of makeup and a lot of different things that may help them to look how they look. So not even they look perfect, you know, or a lot of times they're retouched in their photographs. Let's keep it all the way real. I embrace
beautiful.
My flaws.
A lot of gems right there. A lot of gems right there. So that's available on
my website.
On your website.
Yes.
And I was, you know, as you intro the piece, and I even listened to what you said. From a male perspective, let me just drop a little disclaimer on you.
I'm ready.
Number one is, as men, we appreciate every facet of a woman. You follow? And I'm sure a lot of guys will co-sign this. So women tend to compete between themselves.
Yes.
Not knowing that not only do we appreciate you as our woman, but we also appreciate the differences that we see in the other women. You know, so that is unnecessary. However, this will be the last thing, and you know, the most important thing to say. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Yes, it is.
And if you dissect that statement, in your husband's eye, you are the chick. In my eyes, my wife is the chick. Yeah. And you walk, and when you see old couples, you know, you see that synergy there. In his eyes, that old woman that is wrinkly, bent over with a cane, and there's nothing sexy about her, there's no sex appeal. In his eyes, she's the most beautiful. Yeah. So I appreciate you for not only allowing me or inspiring me to say that, but for bringing this flavor to the show and everything else that you've did. So once again, Chanel Casimir, thank you so much for blessing us.
Oh
Great powwow.
Yes, so much fun.
Yeah, we're gonna check her out. She's gonna be back in Squirrel Rosenberg Radio, actually, and we're gonna do some joint things together because the synergy is so official.
Yes.
Tune in. We're gonna get this live right up on our SoundCloud immediately. Squirrel Rosenberg Radio. Our YouTube is gonna be moving with this Squirrel Rosenberg TV. Once again, thank you for tuning in. The good stuff, the positive stuff, the uplifting stuff, and the psychological stuff. Bombs, honor. Squirrel Rosenberg Radio. 1.
Broke, there's money to be made. I'm on the road to the riches. You in another lane. I'm all alone at the bar. Take a